Sex trafficking belongs to the red light district in China. It is a legal dignity that cannot be challenged by the people, and it is also the target of severe crackdown by the state. It is absolutely impossible to legalize it. In the Netherlands, however, it can appear swaggeringly in people's lives and be traded by the people in the open. All this has to start with a major announcement in the Netherlands. Netherlands. In 2000, the Netherlands shocked the world by announcing the legalization of sex trafficking. Even Western countries with an open style did not dare to declare the legalization of sex trafficking easily, but the Netherlands did it. Not only that, the Netherlands is the first country in the world to legalize same-sex marriage and euthanasia. Why did the Netherlands legalize sex trafficking? How will this decision affect the Netherlands? Is the impact good or bad? The ups and downs of the red light district. Amsterdam in the Netherlands is the largest red light district in the area, and it is also a place frequented by Dutch people and foreigners. There are countless ways to have fun here, and there are also many small houses with beautiful girls in revealing clothes and gorgeous makeup. Dutch red light district. These girls have no other jobs to do, and prostitution is their only outlet. In 1644, Spain and Portugal had declined, and the Netherlands became the new overlord, so the 17th century was also called the Dutch century. At that time, the Netherlands was powerful and exerted its own strength in the sea area. It was also known as the Sea Coachman. Its maritime crafts had already dominated the trade west of the Strait of Magellan and east of the Cape of Good Hope. Its marine tools reorganize and trade materials from all over the world. Dutch fleet in the 17th century, painting. It is precisely because of the development of Dutch commerce that Amsterdam has also become an important turning point in maritime trade, a place of stop for people coming and going, and a place for them to release their pressure. Because of the long-term voyage at sea, these merchants and sailors are unable to consume, let alone satisfy their physical needs. This situation lasted for many years, and it was not broken until some business people who dared to test the water appeared. They smelled new business opportunities and opened entertainment venues around the port first. Old photos of Dutch ports. People who come and go can release themselves here, and the service staff can meet all the requirements of customers, so that they can return home happily. Over time, Amsterdam has developed into the place with the largest number of sex trades in the Netherlands. Of course, here is not only the generalization of sex trade, but also the proliferation of drugs. Passing tourists will buy a certain amount of drugs to take home, or smoke them clean here. Former Amsterdam. In order to control this phenomenon, the Dutch government has formulated relevant policies, stipulating that minors are not allowed to buy drugs, and adults can buy drugs under 5 grams. After the promulgation of this regulation, drugs in Amsterdam officially appeared in the local market for people to trade, but the drugs that can be sold are among the categories stipulated by the state, not any kind of drug. The reason why the Netherlands is willing to legalize part of the drug trade is to prevent the flooding of drugs with higher purity and greater harm to the human body. Once upon a time in the streets of Holland. This policy has brought a lot of economic income to the Dutch government. Whether they are domestic or foreign, Amsterdam will receive them. After the drug problem was solved, the Dutch government began to deal with the issue of sex trafficking. They felt that sex trafficking was not shameful, but just a normal release of human physiological reactions, which is understandable. In 2000, the Dutch government decided to rectify the sex trade in the country. They knew that Amsterdam had a high traffic flow, and mandatory prohibition of sex trade would not have much effect, and the state treasury was also short of funds. Dutch red light district. Therefore, the Dutch government simply legalized the sex trade, stipulated the tax payment standards for different groups of people, and formulated the places and conditions of the sex trade. After the policy was implemented, other countries in the world were shocked. Although Western countries are relatively open, they have not yet reached the level of legalization of sex trafficking. This move by the Netherlands has really opened everyone's eyes. In Amsterdam, after learning that the national policy allows sex trade, entertainment venues have sprung up like mushrooms after rain, and there are more and more prostitutes. Dutch red light district. Anyone who went to Amsterdam at that time could see such a picture: uneven small houses, various small posters, and colorful lights, and the girls inside, without exception, were all scantily clad and heavily made up. They would stand at the door of the house and wriggle around, give hints to passing men, use their best efforts to lead them into their rooms, and start trading. It is a pity that because of the outbreak of the epidemic, the sex trade industry in Amsterdam has also been hit to varying degrees, and those girls who guarded the house have also lost their source of livelihood. Dutch girl. In order to survive, they had no choice but to leave Amsterdam and return to the countryside to live, so that the business in the red light district plummeted. The local government has also enacted some remedial measures in order to save the sex trafficking industry. The first is the trading place. The government stipulates that the place must be fixed, and reasonable virus disinfection should be carried out to ensure the safety of the trading place. The second is that both parties to the transaction should clean themselves before the transaction to prevent the spread of the virus. The last is the transaction funds, which need to be paid after virus treatment, and unsterilized banknotes cannot be used at will. Dutch girl. Following the establishment of the sex trade rules, the Dutch Prime Minister announced on July 1, 2020 that the sex trade venues in Amsterdam will resume operation. After a bailout by the Dutch government, the sex trade industry temporarily revived, and the volume of transactions began to recover. Because of the recovery of the sex trade industry, the economic crisis brought by the epidemic to the Netherlands has also eased a lot, and the government has also begun to focus on restoring other industries in the country. However, is the policy of legalizing sex trafficking good or bad for the Netherlands? Amsterdam. The disaster of women, the poison of the country. Most of the girls in Amsterdam's red light district are trafficked women or students. They don't want to engage in prostitution, but they have no choice. During the period when the Netherlands dominated the sea, they would capture different types of girls from all over the world, put them in the red light district, let the old bastards there train these girls, and then let them pick up guests or serve people of a certain class. These girls are all beautiful and have a good figure, and they are the sweet pastry in the eyes of men. They will not take into account the wishes of the girls and force them to trade, but if they do not obey the orders of the customers, they will suffer inhuman torture. Dutch girl. In order to control these girls, the local bastard will investigate all their relatives and friends and use them as weapons to control them. Under the tutelage of the bastard, these girls will learn how to make men happier, how to show off, or how to attract customers. Although they are very unwilling in their hearts, they have no ability to resist. The bastard has mastered their fate. As long as the girls don't obey the order, the bastard will send people to the girls' homes and kill all their family members, or all the elder sisters and younger sisters in his family were forcibly brought here as prostitutes. Sex Museum in Amsterdam. There are also some girls who are unwilling to give up. They try their best to get the escape map, know the overall layout of Amsterdam, and even disclose the matter of the procuresses forced buying and selling of women to local reporters. They will escape in panic. It's a pity that there are very few successful girls, and many of those who escaped will be caught back. It's not just local hooligans, but also beggars. These people have no sympathy for women, and the deserted escapees will die under their torture. Because the Netherlands allows sex trade, these procuresses will go all over the world to find resources, and then use all means to lure and abduct them and bring them to the red light district to pick up customers. Dutch girl. According to official statistics, many girls go missing in Eastern Europe every year. Some of them are not even adults. The final destination of these girls is basically Amsterdam. There is a place called Swig next to Amsterdam, which is also a popular place for sex trafficking. There is a prison-like building inside, surrounded by high walls, the only windows are still iron windows, and the gates to enter are all iron doors. There are quite a few thorns, the entrance and exit are handled by a special person, and the rooms inside are divided into different levels, and virgins are the best level. This is not a place where ordinary people can enjoy themselves. The controller will set strict standards, and only those who meet the standards can enter Swig and enjoy the happiness that belongs to him. Dutch Red Light District. The girls working here are not free, they have no way to choose the person they like, they can only obey the arrangement of the commander. Just like the ancient brothel, the old bastard is the one who assigns tasks, and money is the ultimate judge of where these girls will go standard. The same is true for Swig's girls. They need to exchange their bodies for money. They can leave as long as they earn enough for the redemption fee, or someone is willing to redeem her body. Only after obtaining the consent of the commander can she become a free man, who later became a free trade worker. For these girls, the legalization of sex trafficking is a disaster, the instigator of the destruction of their lives, and the root of evil. Even though the government tried its best to save the trafficked women, they still did not escape the clutches of evil. Dutch red light district. Black industrial chain. Many journalists were interested in the social situation after the legalization of the sex trade in the Netherlands. They disguised themselves and came to the largest trading place to conduct unannounced visits. They found that these girls were covered with scars, their faces were sallow, and they were in a state of malnutrition. A reporter accidentally found a woman who escaped from the red light district. Through her story, the reporter learned about the tragic experiences of these girls. Most of them were lured and abducted, or boyfriends or good friends. These people took the girls away and sold them to pimps on the grounds that they would go abroad to earn high salaries. Dutch red light district. After the pimps bring the girls to the red light district, they will send someone to torture them so that they don't have the will to resist, and then pick them up. These girls wander around different men every day, serving them with their young bodies. As the sex trade proliferated, other industries began to emerge. The first is surrogacy. Pimps will find some young girls and let them be surrogates for rich but infertile families. On average, they will have one child a year until they lose their fertility. Due to poor medical conditions, many surrogate girls will die because of dystocia. Dutch girl. The second is organ trading. Pimps will turn these girls into medical backup devices. Whenever there are people who buy and sell organs at a high price, the pimps will let these girls be matched and then buy and sell their organs. Then there are full-time lovers. Some wealthy people will go to the red light district to select girls and let them go on business trips with them to satisfy their sexual desires. After they get tired of playing, these girls will be sent back to the red light district and continue to pick up customers. The last is human bone trading. There has been human bone trading in the Middle East. After people die, they will strip the human bones and sell them for medical research or handicraft processing, making human bones into artworks. Dutch red light district. Those girls who died in the red light district will eventually become a skeleton, which will be packed together and shipped to other countries for sale. The emergence of these industries did not bring hope of survival to these girls, but let them fall into the abyss and die without a whole body. Although the police are trying their best to control the development of the black industry chain, there are still many desperados and money gatherers who ignore state regulations and still wander around various countries to abduct and sell women, and some even start abducting and selling children. Many young girls are routinely followed or harassed, putting their safety at risk. Dutch red light district. The emergence of pimps and criminals has made social security worse and worse, and the country has become more and more difficult to rectify. The people have also begun to lose confidence in the country. Entrusted to the country. For its own benefit, the Netherlands did not consider the safety of its citizens, and even despised the lives of girls, or this decision was wrong from the beginning. Why should the price of legalizing the sex trade be borne by girls? No one wants their family to be a tool for others to vent their desires, and they don't want to see their children and sisters become tools for pimps to make money. The picture comes from the internet. So, is the Dutch policy on the legalization of sex trafficking inappropriate? Is this series of serious consequences really what they want to see? We can't easily judge others' actions, but we can be strict with ourselves. We must resolutely resist illegal behaviors and jointly maintain social order. The best arrangement is for the country and the people to go both ways. The sole political criterion is whether or not we agree with and support socialism at this stage. A few days ago, an article titled "Serving the People is the Highest Ideological Realm of Mankind" was on the top of HongJiHue.com for several days in a row, and it also received rave reviews. The first reason for the positive comments is, of course, that the famous saying "serve the people" was said by Chairman Mao, and it has never been out of date and will never be out of date. At the same time, the article was written with great momentum, and it was written by a current government official, and the comments contained expectations for the country's managers.